sunt kamikaze și vom avea un nou joc numit Water Me. În jocul ăsta tu trebuie să întreții o plantă în timp ce vine furtuna. Se pare că o să vină aici o furtună. Păi o să numesc Bob. De ce nu? Să fie lumină. Tai astea. Nu pentru știri. Ok, să ascultăm.
For South Carolina Public Radio, this is South Carolina Focus. I'm Tut Underwood. Hunting the many wild hogs that have proliferated in South Carolina is exciting to dogs. Wild hogs have excited farmers too for a bad...
Ok, următoarea zi. Lumină. Unde o leacă? Stai, poți vorbesc cu planta? You look unbelievably fresh today. Hai să... Bă.
Hi, I'm Laura Huntsberger, and you're listening to South Carolina Focus.
Da,
With me
avem
here
de
today is
ce
Matthew Whitehouse, the Observatory Manager for the South Carolina State Museum. So Matthew, if I have this right, a lunar eclipse is when the sun, earth, and moon line up with each other so that the earth casts a shadow on the moon. But this eclipse is called a super eclipse. What does that mean?
So I should backtrack by saying that all lunar eclipses happen when the moon is full. So this is a so-called supermoon eclipse, and all that really means is that this particular full moon, when the eclipse is happening, is when the moon is closest to the Earth in its orbit. So because of this, when the moon is a so-called supermoon, it actually can appear slightly bigger in our sky, not dramatically bigger. So if you're looking up on a supermoon or for this supermoon eclipse and you're expecting the moon to look really, really big in the sky, it's actually not going to. It's only going to look slightly bigger. In fact, it may not really be noticeable.
Well, what makes this supermoon special this time, though?
So in this case, we have this kind of convergence of events, a supermoon, and an eclipse happening at the same time, a lunar eclipse happening at the same time. This eclipse starts a few minutes after 9 p.m. The moon will start going into the Earth's shadow, and we'll begin to see that encroachment on the moon. The eclipse peaks at around 10:47 p.m., so just before 11 p.m. will be at maximum eclipse. At that point, the moon will be a very distinct red color. And then as we approach midnight, the eclipse will start to wind down. We'll start seeing them.
Nu mai pasă. Opa, de ce așa? Vorbește cu... De ce nu faci flore? Ai arătat bine cu o floare. Da, nu mai îmi arată. Da, ți-ar plăcea niște... Sorry. Okay, să mai ascultăm știrile.
For South Carolina Public Radio, this is South Carolina Focus. I'm Tut Underwood.
Poftim apă.
Going through his collection, Harvey Teal of Columbia recalls interesting times putting...
Okay. Opa, plouă.
I'm Laura Huntsberger for South Carolina Public Radio. According to the state's Emergency Management Division, the entire state of South Carolina could experience significant flooding this weekend. The city of Columbia's Mayor State Benjamin says that although rain may not seem threatening, the roads will be
12 inches of water.
Să știi că avem nevoie să dăm apă.
You lose complete control, and certainly large amounts of water can feel other dangers that might be present. I would encourage people to not try and cross what could be a very dangerous intersection.
For a list of potentially dangerous intersections, visit columbiasc.net. A toll-free telephone line has been established for questions about the severe weather conditions and will operate 24 hours a day while hazardous conditions persist. The number is 1-866-246-0133. In an emergency, call 911. For South Carolina Public Radio, I'm Laura Huntsberger. I'm Laura Huntsberger for South Carolina Public Radio. According to the state's Emergency Management Division, the entire state of South Carolina could experience.
Yesterday, nearly 7 inches of rain fell in Columbia, South Carolina, the most rain ever recorded in a single day in the state's capital. It followed days of heavy rains, leading to widespread flooding. At least 7 people have died in the state, 3 of them in Columbia. We reached the mayor, Steve Benjamin. It is still raining there, and he's been manning the city's emergency center for several days now. Good morning. How?
Right now we're looking at about 25,000 outages, but our utilities have been fantastic at trying to really turn that back up. Some areas are easier than others, but so much of what we need, this is heavy equipment that's on the roads. And when you look at that those high water vehicles and all of those things, they need to be able to get through in and out. We've worked very closely with Lexington County today. Absolutely need everybody to stay home. Myrtle Beach has gone through a terrible time in terms of that, but this is an incident we've never had before. You know, when we dealt with the 2 winter storms before, we said this was the first time we've really dealt with that. This is different than a hurricane because it's water and it's slow moving and it's sitting, and we can't just take the water out. So as long as it sits, we just need to do the best we can at controlling the environment around us, the situation around us.
Опа, ce să vedem. Oprește. Muzică. Muzică mică. Poftim apă. Hai, te ajut. Nu se aude nimic. Nimic aici. A murit! Bob a murit! Nu! Nu! N-are cum ca Bob să moară! De ce mi l-ai omorât pe Bob? Frate, rip Bob, țineți-l minte pe Bob. Păi tot a fost pentru acest episod. În jocul ăsta n-ai cum să faci ca planta ta să supraviețuiască, din păcate. Păi ne întâlnim data viitoare. Pa, pa!